Hi, I'm Leslie. I work with Dan and Greg. And Greg knows that I did a comedy show, sketch comedy, once, like 20 years ago. I'm not lying. And on the basis of that, he said, can you come along and help us with our fundraising for the New York Marathon? And I thought, if that means I never have to run another marathon, sign me up. Because I ran London last year. I ran the London Marathon. I'm not a runner. I've never been a runner. We don't count running from the police as a teenager, right? Right? Good. So I've never been a runner, but I was at the London Marathon in 2017, and I was cheering everybody on, and I was so inspired that the following week, in a fit of what I can only say was madness, I signed up to run the marathon myself in 2018. I'm sorry to go on about it, by the way, but the first rule of Marathon Club is that you are absolutely required, once you've run a marathon, to mention it at every single opportunity. It's kind of like being a vegan. I should mention that I hate running and I'm terrible at it, right? But I figured if I, a very short-legged, middle-aged, slightly out-of-shape non-runner, could go from couch to marathon in under a year, I could raise a hell of a lot of money for the charity, right? It was for the National Autistic Society as well, I should say. And I did. I raised over £5,000 for the NAS last year. It was brilliant. It was so great. But I could have raised a hell of a lot more. So when I first signed up to do the marathon, I thought, God, everybody knows somebody who's run a marathon, right? So what can I possibly do to stand out and really encourage people to dig deep and sponsor me? So I contacted the London Marathon organizers and I asked them if I could run the marathon stark naked. And you won't be surprised to learn that they came back with a very strongly worded no. But by the time I got their response, I'd already got some sponsorship, so I had to run the damn thing in clothes. And as a result, I now own a rather disturbing array of Lycra. The thing about running is that people will always tell you it's a really accessible sport, right? Anyone can do it. You don't need to spend a lot of money. You just need a decent pair of running shoes, right? Right. That's why I now own running shorts, trail shorts, running capris, full-length running tights in both winter and summer weight, flip belts, running vests, t-shirts, a breathable jacket, and a GPS watch. And running shoes. And the thing about the marathon, right? I've done it once. I never, ever, ever have to do it again. Not ever. Except you tell people that and they go, oh no, you'll do another one. You'll get the bug, you won't be able to stop. Oh, ye of little faith. I can stop. I'm absolutely shit at running, but stopping, I'm fucking brilliant at it. And the reason I ran London, people ask me, why didn't you run New York, why'd you run London? Well, I'm from London. Okay, I can see the more astute among you might have figured out I'm not originally from London. But people ask me all the time where I'm from. And I never know exactly what to say, because I've moved around a lot. But I grew up mainly in New York and New Jersey. Mostly in New Jersey. And the problem with a room full of British people is if you say New Jersey, a lot of people give you like questions. They don't understand it. They don't know anything about it. I had one guy ask me what part of New York that's in. For those who don't know, it's its own state. Or the other thing people do, when you say New Jersey, they immediately come back with New Jersey. It's not New Jersey. The only people who say New Jersey are from fucking Staten Island. Okay, I can see the blank stares. If you don't know, I'll translate. For Staten Island, think Slough. And even if people don't ask me where I'm from, my accent soon gives me away, right? I mean, basically, if you've ever seen The Sopranos, have you all seen The Sopranos? Yeah, that's what I used to sound like. Those are basically my people. I mean, less the murder and the general criminality, but other than that, those are basically my people, and that's how I used to sound. But I've lived over here for 16 years now, and my accent's just all over the fucking place. And when I go home, they all think I sound British. Shit you not, baby. Last time I was home, a cab driver asked me if I'd ever been to the States before. Or you tell me you live in London and they go, oh, pip pip cheerio, in like an accent that would make Dick Van Dyke cringe. Fucking pathetic. It really is. So anyway, so I've moved around a lot, right? But I love to travel. But even so, I didn't leave the States for the first time until I was 28 years old. Now, by the time most British people are 28, they've like traveled the world, they've done a whole gap year thing. We don't get to do that in America. In America, there's a lot of barriers to travel, right? Even before Trump. There's always been barriers to travel, one of which is that America is fucking vast. Okay, it takes the best part of a day's worth of plane travel to get anywhere worth going. So there's all these barriers to travel, so people don't tend to go anywhere. But it can be difficult to get that across to an audience if they've never been to America. It can be hard to conceptualize how big the place is, especially if you've never been there, if you've only been to Florida or Vegas, which I think probably half the people in this room have been to one or the other or both, but nowhere else. So I'll put it in more relevant terms, right? They do this on the news all the time. They use whales as a frame of reference. You know about this? Right? They go, oh yeah, this asteroid could take out an area 3 times the size of whales. I don't know why, but they do. So I'm going to put it in terms you can understand, right? To make up America, you need 475 Waleses to make up America. But I think some Brits still don't get this. I was talking to a lady the other day, and she told me she's really excited because she's going to Disney World in Florida, right? And she says to me, and I think we might drive over to New York for the day. Do you know how many fucking Waleses that is? It's 6.4 Waleses north to south, I checked. So as I said, I love to travel, and I've been making up for lost time ever since the first time I left the States. And recently, my partner and I went to Paris and Montreal in one trip. Because why speak French terribly on one side of the Atlantic when you could do it on both? Right? And I do speak French terribly. Like my partner, who's British, he learned French at school. But me, I learned Spanish because America. But I do think that it's important when you travel abroad to try and learn a bit of the native tongue. Right? It's only good manners, which us Americans are known for. So, for months leading up to our trip, I studied French, right? I really worked really hard to try and wrap my head around the French language. Try turned out to be the operative word. Because the rules of French make about as much sense to me as the rules of your average drinking game, right? Put the verb before the pronoun when asking a question, except if the subject is a noun, in which case, put the noun first, but then also put the pronoun followed by the verb, because I said so, that's why. And oh, don't forget, if the verb ends in a vowel, add a T. And if you do forget, drink. But honestly, all that drinking makes it really fucking hard to learn a language. But I persevered and I studied and I figured, hey, I ran a fucking marathon. There's nothing I can't do. So I studied and we get to Paris and I'm feeling good, right? I'm like, I'm gonna go to France. I'm gonna speak French to French people. It's gonna be great. And my partner, who, like I said, he speaks French. He's like, I'll do the talking. It's fine. I'm like, no, I got this. So the first morning, we're in Paris. We walk up to this patisserie, right? And we're walking in, and I turned to him and I said, kind of quietly but full of confidence, and just to him, I'm like, I got this. And I turned to the woman behind the counter and I opened my mouth and I said, Dos cafés, por favor. And thank you very much for indulging me, Olga.